This call is now being recorded.
All right, welcome to the 8th podcast for North Georgia Advocate. And I'm here with Viral and a special guest, Jodi White. She has been a big advocate and for the citizens of Hall County, bringing up, a lot of misgivings and finding out a lot of the, we won't call it corruption at this point right now, but a lot of, shady things going on, and she's brought it to the courts and to the people. And before we get into anything, Jodi, just give us a little bit of background about yourself and how you got involved in all this.
Well, it involved in the whole thing, or the what we just mentioned.
Well, we won't go back all the way with the Board of Education, but this stuff lately with the with the County Commission and the Planning Commission, and
I just go to the meetings and I sit there and I kind of watch, and as I watch things progress, and you talk to people, and then you talk to more people, you learn more, and as you learn more, then you start looking, and what's there is evident and right in front of your face. And after a while, when it's right in front of your face, blatantly, you just go ahead and you find out what's happening. I mean, at least I do, because that's the way my mind works. But I guess when I discovered that, I was told a few people were seen together, and then I go and I figure out, well, I'm going to go check this situation out. And lo and behold, what do I see was what I thought I would see in the beginning and hoped I didn't see, but was. And unfortunately had the unfortunateness of being the witness to what we call the sunshine law breaking. And unfortunately, as we all know, our lovely Attorney General says they was just discussing healthcare and vacations, which we could do if we really wanted to, but I don't believe you turn a water faucet off going from county business to, talking about your health and your vacation. But if that's what they want to spin it, and then when you find more charges, that's a little worrisome.
Yeah, you're talking about the fiasco with the Planning Commission, and we've got the big hearing coming up on December the 17th.
Yep.
And they set it for 9:00 in the morning on a Wednesday, so naturally most of the citizens won't be able to come.
Well, I did question that, and there is a very good legitimate answer for that, I will say. Each of the gentlemen that have to before the hearing, it's kind of like a due process thing, kind of like they are going to court, but they're going to court in the commissioner's room. So each one of them have to be heard separately. So the commissions are allowed to question them, and their counsel is allowed to rebuttal back and ask questions also. So it is like a court hearing, essentially. So each individual could be potentially a few hours. So, if you would start at, a 6 p.m. meeting, nobody wants to be there till, midnight, 1:00 in the morning. Could they have done it on a Friday? Still not a great day, but we all know the government's not going to do nothing on a weekend. So,
right. And that'd be ideal to do it on a Saturday morning, just get there at 8 or 9 o'clock, and they could go all day. But they don't want to deal with the overtime and the extra people that'll be there. And I get it. I understand.
So
it's going to be each planning commissioner plus planning staff plus administration, or who's all supposed to be going up there?
It will just be the 3 planning commissioners.
Okay.
Beth or nobody, or Katie's not going to be there, so it's just
whether they're there, I have no idea, but they will not be part of the hearing. No,
they will not be part of that. I'm sure they may be called as witnesses, possibly. I'm not sure.
I don't think there's any witnesses. I think it's just a hearing, just counsel and the planning commissioner theirself get to
Okay.
speak.
That's interesting that none of the staff have to come. Even I mean, maybe as witnesses, but for their own each hearing too, because like Beth resigned. I'm assuming she had reasons to resign. But the other, was it Katie?
Katie,
Was
yeah.
involved in
Right.
that too, right? And then I believe in the investigation, the report that came out, Zach Probst was also questioned and asked if he knew about the meetings and whatnot, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
And
so
that wouldn't go in front of the commissioner. If he ever got caught, it'd have to go back to AG or something, right?
That will go to the commissioners. The commissioners are his boss. That would go the same way this goes.
yeah.
Okay.
The AG could get involved, and our county solicitor has also chimed in finally after a few emails and a few phone calls, has chimed in and said that, she will take into consideration what the board determines whether she will file charges or not.
Right. And
And
also, the AG said they could reopen investigation too, depending on what goes on with the hearing, right?
The AG can reopen the investigation that I had filed. They never closed the
Right.
investigation to their what they considered their self-reporting.
Okay. Because I know I'd read something at the bottom of that report that said that the AG's hands were tied on the other meetings that Greg and David found out when the other 5 meetings, but they could reopen it if certain things happened. They had the ability to reopen everything. I just didn't know how
Yeah.
all that was going to play out.
Oh, well, I mean, we all have opinions. My opinion is I don't see an AG getting involved since Hall County is being reactive to the situation. And if the solicitor gets involved and presses charges, they're going to get what you can get for that crime.
Right. And it's just misdemeanors at this point,
Right.
and it may not be worth the trouble to do it, but it may also, if the solicitor does bring charges, they could send a message, hey, you're going to be found criminal, be liable too. You're just not going to get a slap on the wrist and get the heave ho.
Well, even a misdemeanor charge shows up on your record anywhere you go.
Right.
These guys
So-
don't care about their records at this point.
And
They're towards the
we
tail
were
end of their
figuring-
careers. They don't care about no charges.
Yeah.
What's showing up on my screen.
That's fine.
Hey, we can all hope that somebody has some morals and values and wants a clean record, even in
Yeah,
their later days.
Yeah, most of them aren't in politics, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, and one thing that I thought there's not anything to do with the hearing, it's just kind of odd with the planning commission. We were figuring it up. These guys make around 24 grand a year, counting their per diem and their monthly salaries. I mean, why would a planning commissioner need a per diem or any of that? I mean, that's stuff that the commission needs to look at.
Well, the per diem was changed back. It was a few years ago. They do not receive per diem now. They just receive a standard pay now.
Okay.
They just receive a standard pay. The only board that receives a per diem anymore is the board of assessors, and that is our last board that will be fixed.
Okay. There's no need for a per diem period and for any of that. That's just a lot of wasted tax money.
Yeah.
So, what do you expect? Do you expect them to keep their retirement if they get? I mean, they're most likely. I think they're going to get found guilty. I mean, and replaced. I mean, can the county rip their retirement or anything that they have gained through that?
The planning commission is appointed, so they are not privy privy to the retirement
Okay, I
benefits.
didn't know if that appointed were
Mm-mm.
privy to the retirement.
No, they're just paid. That's it.
Okay, they get no other benefits or anything. That's good.
Right. And they have been paid through this, but that is per Georgia law that they had to be
Yeah.
paid.
Well, I understand that. I mean, you can't do that without
I mean,
You
due
know,
process. They got to find them
due
guilty.
process. Yeah. So, and it's going to be a real interesting to see how it goes. And
Jodi, do you received some emails from certain commissioners in the past? Has any of the 3 individuals emailed you or contacted you, or have their attorneys talked to you or anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's good.
I'm
I'm
sure
glad to
their
hear that.
attorneys told them to stay the hell away from you
Yeah,
for a little while.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. I mean,
And-
nobody needs to be reaching out to residents of the county
Well,
just because they're
and,
exposing them.
and I know why Bill's bringing it up probably is there's been a lot of intimidation in the past from people when they try to go after anybody in this certain people in the
Yeah.
county. And you can get it. They try to send feelers out and intimidate you.
Yeah, I think they found out I'm not easily intimidated.
Right. No doubt. And and this isn't the first lawsuit you brought up or taken anything to court. You did one with Braswell and earlier with conflict of interest. And
Right.
that's what rattled their cages to start with, and they just didn't realize that was the warning shot.
Well, actually, I was very kind on that. I gave him a warning shot beforehand.
Exactly.
I gave him warning papers a week before that, and he went ahead and voted again. And like I had stated before, if the whole county had the ethics that surrounding counties do, those ethics would have held.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. So, all right, well, let's get into 2 more things that you're heavy in. What about this Cagle Road subdivision being built right down your road, right down the road from your house? And you've been posting a lot of videos about how dangerous it is to pull out in the highway.
But
And
isn't that the one that Braswell needed to stay out of from the vote? Isn't that what he
Yes.
voted on? Right? Yeah.
Yes. That is the Cagle Mill Road project. That is that was the last of the high density before the moratorium was put down, and then they tabled it, and fortunately got tabled to December 11th. And that there's an exit coming off the back onto a dirt road, as you've seen in the multiple videos I've made. And the other main one comes right there off 365, where you have to cross the 2 lanes to the middle, the 2 northbound lanes to the middle to get to the southbound lane. And if you're lucky, you may get in that far right lane, but there's little to no chance you're going to get in that far right lane to not be breaking a traffic law.
no, and getting in that left lane, you take your life in your own hands because that's the fast lane,
I mean, if you turn the video up a little bit on the video that I did, yeah, I mean, you can hear it. I gunned it to get out there, and
Yeah.
I've kind of discussed this with a few people, and I even discussed it with our county engineer of my concerns of it, and he said, oh well, I drive a 3-cylinder car, and I said, well, I drive an 8-cylinder car, and I'm gonna tell you this: when I pull out there, I have it hammered down, and there's cars on my rear end by the time I get out there. So, how you're doing it with the 3-cylinder, you're like, you must
Yeah.
be playing the lottery.
Oh, yeah. At least they could do is if it passes, they could at least put in a lane kind of like they have up at J. Moore Farms when you're turning south coming back to Hall County. They got one that goes for about a half a mile where you can merge into the fast lane if you have to. But, they're
Yeah.
going to have to do something, another red light or something at that intersection if this passes.
Well, GDOT has no plans. That is not in GDOT's plan. And that video I took, That includes the red light that they just added at Whitehall Road.
And that's
So you-
unbelievable.
So
They're
you can
busy
see,
building out roundabouts, planning roundabouts right now.
well, the end plan is, widening 365, but that's not until, 2050.
Right.
I think it's going to take a certain number of people dying until or maybe even somebody important dying to finally get it widened or get some attention to it.
Yeah.
Well, that Hall County firefighter or whoever just had his whole family get killed last year.
Yeah. That was the sheriff. Yep.
Yeah.
His wife and 3 kids.
Yeah, deputy or whoever, and his wife and 3 kids, and that Corvette come flying down through there like 150 miles.
Wow.
an hour.
Yeah. Instantly.
That was on
1
365. That was on.
Yeah,
Really? Wow.
that was right up from Whitehall Road, I believe, up near Lula Road or something. That was,
Yeah, it was north of Lula Road. And I brought it up several times at the meetings, that it's, Gainesville Times theirself, has listed 365 and Lula Road, their, top 5 deadliest intersections in Hall County.
Oh yeah,
And we just threw those warehouses up there like it's nothing. Then you're going to throw 323 homes right there,
and then on top of that, Viral and I were talking to Amanda Browning, and one of the main reasons she wanted to run in Lula was they've already approved 300 something homes on Athens Street.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to put in 300 something more.
Well, they're
In
going to
the
get the
next couple
property
of
to do it.
Athens Street can't handle everyday traffic, much less 600 homes.
Well, like I've told people, if you go read the GDOT plan, that plan is to widen 52, whether they like it or they want to listen to it. I know they don't like it, and they surely didn't want to listen to it, but they need to go look at that secondary plan on that 365 widening. It includes 52, and they want to say, well, 52 doesn't run through Lula, but we all know in the state of Georgia, we can say that's 365, 23, 441. Well, 51 can become 52 real quick.
Oh, yeah.
51, 52 widen through there, and it's going to go right and left through Gillsville, through Lula, and there's their direct path to 85.
Yeah. But that's going to happen, and we're going to end up having a new school. We're going to have a new elementary school, middle school, and a high school in that area. I mean, they're already overcrowded as it is, and you move any more people up in there, and because they're going to be building more apartments and homes because of the inland port. Then you throw in Cagle Road if it gets approved.
Now, Cagle Mill, don't get them confused, Chris. Cagle Mill.
Cagle Mill Road, yeah.
They get wound up out here when you start saying Cagle again.
Yeah.
By the way, that property's back up for sale.
Ah, okay.
That one that caused the stir that they rezoned, the financing fell through on the developer. So that land is rezoned and back up for sale, and nobody's grabbed it yet.
Do you reckon that'll have anything to do with the expansion they're thinking about at Kubota? They're wanting to do them pay instead of them those things to pay in lieu of tax deals that they worked out?
No, because they've already zoned that residential. So I think it's because of the moratorium that no developers grabbed it.
Okay. I didn't know because I know Rochester has already come in, Brian Rochester, out on 53 out near Viral's house and wanting to put in 30 townhomes and 400 RV and boat slips. And the only reason he's doing 30 townhomes is because it gets him under the moratorium.
Yep.
And he can do that 2 or 3 times and get approved.
The one that y'all are talking about, though, if it's already rezoned for X amount of houses, does the moratorium still matter at that point? Because it's already rezoned, so it's just a matter of them submitting their land LDP, right?
They have to come, since the development fell through, it's already zoned, so they would actually have to come back through with a site plan and everything else.
Oh, okay. So the previous site plan doesn't matter anymore since the developer
Right.
fell through. Oh wow, okay.
Well, that'll be
Interesting.
good if nobody ever builds, but just don't know. I mean, the way it's going.
Yeah, because I would think is with the rezoning, whatever plan was approved is like somebody can just sell that potentially and be like, hey, this is ready to go, start building it tomorrow. They could. I didn't know they would have to go back in front of the board.
Yeah, well, they have to come with a site plan, a building site plan, if you're going to build
Gotcha.
high
Okay.
density.
Now, what's your opinion on this? It ties into all this moratorium. From what we understand, we've talked to several people, and I know you have too. They've not even started work on redoing the UDC from when they put in the
No.
moratorium. Do you think they're going to extend that, or they're just going to say, screw it?
I don't think they're going to have a choice. I mean, they haven't worked on it. They don't have a planning and zoning director. They don't have a planning board. You really can't plan something if you don't have anything to plan it with.
Right.
And the planning and zoning job was just listed yesterday. So
Well, and also not Probes, but Hunt and Braswell and those their main two defenses in this whole thing was the UDC said they didn't have to have, they could have a meeting with 3 or more people as long as they didn't take a vote. So that means the UDC just needs to be ripped up and redone totally anyway.
yeah, and that was the point of the moratorium. So, that's kind of my point of this high density on Cagle Road, and I do have the video clip of, Wes Robertson looking at Chris Braswell and saying, well, I pulled this application several years ago when you asked me to, so you could redo the UDC. And now that the UDC's been redone, I'm back in front of the board. So, I've done everything the way you said. And I was like, interesting. So, and we have that on video. Thank you.
No doubt. And
Let's add that.
And also, with the UDC, why was that even in the UDC to start with? I mean, these guys, that just makes no sense why they would have to have in there that they could meet with more than 3 people in a UDC.
It makes sense when you look who made the UDC.
Yeah. Well, and going to that real quick, I started thinking, do you think that this ties into Winder, much less it could tie into, and you got Corey Anderson running against Kathy Cooper. Do you think Kathy didn't renew her real estate license just so she could unrecuse herself on the Winder Highway project that's coming up on December 11th?
I really wondered why she didn't. Maybe she just wants to be out of real estate. Maybe it was.
You can still collect a commission check without a real estate license, though.
Yeah.
You don't need a real estate license.
You just work under somebody else's license.
Not even that. I mean, these wholesalers and these folks, they go out there and work deals together. You don't. It's a very loose rule when it comes to getting a commission check for real estate transactions and stuff and needing a real estate license. So I'm sure, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she's just kind of a middleman pushing buttons and then somebody else is.
It's just kind of odd that she was so hell bent on unrecusing herself.
Right.
And then she knows that Vicky's group was going after the concerned citizens. They made a big deal out of it because she let her real estate license lapse and she still had her name on a few properties. So
but then again though, I don't see how just it being a different address, you're not quote unquote financially tied to it anymore. That you can't recuse yourself because you originally were tied to the same exact property. It's just a different parcel. It's from what it sounded like.
Well, what they said at the meeting was it was on the agenda listed that way. And some way,
right.
I would have to go ask Mr. Lawhorn what it was, but the county attorney did speak up and say that he did look into it and she was legally able to vote.
Well, and that's the same way with Braswell when you filed that against him and they found no conflict of interest on his with the Norton agency, you knew there's no way in hell Kathy was going to be found conflict of interest on this new property.
No, of
But
course.
I think if she didn't renew it because of that, it's just to remove all doubt. She can just say, hey, I'm not a real estate agent anymore. I'm not the listing agent, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So there's just so much shady stuff going on. And, you got to think this way to keep up with what they do.
Yeah, you definitely have to sit back and look at everything and look at it from every standpoint and lay your papers out and start saying, okay, and go back. And like I tell everyone, I like to have it in black and white in front of me and say, okay, I have an assumption. That's great. But now let me actually put this right to paper and say, I have it. It's right here. Look, I can show it to you. This isn't, a conspiracy theory. This isn't made up, and half this stuff I look at, I'm amazed that they even put it in black and white. They make it too easy for you.
Right. Well, and it's just, they've had it easy because in the past, I've been here my whole life, and Veryl's been here for a long time too. Anybody that's ever challenged them, they give a answer that sounds good or a reason that sounds good, and everybody just goes, oh, okay. They don't ever push it.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just an overthinker.
Well, no, I mean, people, there's been a lot of people wanting to do this, but they needed somebody like you to step in that's got the guts to just, and it would
kind of like set a precedent to start
Yes.
that you can actually question the government.
It's a lot
And
easier for you, not saying you, but someone in your position that moved here is not a native, because everybody that you're going up against on that commission or one of these boards, you got friends or family that knows them pretty much, and it can create a lot of infighting with a lot of people. And that's why people just don't back up. They just back out of trying to push anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just wasn't born or built that way. I mean, even where I come from, I don't care if it's you, brother, sister, aunt, or uncle. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And
Oh, yeah.
you gotta, I think I agree with you. A lot of it is that there's so much intermingling and intertwined, and that needs to be undone in our government. And I keep telling everybody that this isn't a short-term game. This is a long-term game, and it
Yeah.
has to be all the way to a ballot box.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be. I mean, and the commission, that's what they're hoping is this is just going to be gone when this is over with. But I think they're learning that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
And also about the Cagle Road, before we moved to the data center, at one point you had a lot of people from the neighborhood coming to the meeting and raising Cain and being vocal. So it literally got mad as the dickens at that one meeting and showed his rear end. Are those people still as fired up and as mad? And
Oh, there's more. There's
after?
more now. There's more now.
There's more now? Good. Sometimes distance calms people down, if they stretch it out over several months.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they were hoping for, and that they actually grew it more than they calmed it down.
Well, that's good. Maybe they'll all show up on December 11th.
Yeah, I
So-
think December 11th is going to be a fireworks.
Oh, yeah, that meeting's probably going to last at least 2 or 3 hours,
Oh, yeah.
a minimum.
I think 2-3 hours is, like you said, a minimum. They might go longer than that.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you throw in-
kind of upset because we're leaving for a couple months this upcoming Monday. I'm not going to be able to attend that December 11th meeting, so I'll watch it.
You better be online.
Yeah, no, I'm going to watch it online.
So
I wouldn't miss that. Yeah.
no,
that's
it's gonna be a doozy. And now, and the thing is, what's telling about this is Cagle Road's not even the main issue on the agenda on the December 11th meeting. It's the data center that's being built. That's going to be 900,000 square feet, and we can't find out any information on whether it's going to be water cooled or, we don't know what type of data center it's going to be, who the clients are going to be. And Viral he knows a lot more about data centers than I do. I know enough to, but Viral, he's went into, we just need to know the details of what's going on and what we're getting now. It's just not good.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not gonna get details. They can hide behind NDAs and whatnot, but until you actually get this little zoning approval for it and whatnot, they're not gonna invest the time into actually, proper engineering plans, actual water usage plans, any of that stuff. So you're not gonna get any of that. You could push them and push them and push them, but until you get a rezoning, the likes of AWS or Meta or OpenAI or any of these guys, they're not gonna touch it. So.
And did you think? What's your opinion on the data center overall, Jodi? Do you think that since Habersham turned theirs down last night, could that snowball into Hall County, or do you think it's pretty much a done deal?
It's hard to say on this one. I think there could, at first I would say, I would believe it will be a sealed deal, but I think there's been a little bit of shift. So I think it might be a surprise for everyone which way it goes. I wouldn't bet on it.
I actually don't like the fact that they're still pushing forward with this one with Braswell's involvement before his hearing on the 17th. In my opinion, and again, I'm not against or for this data center. I'm kind of neutral to this, but just because of those ties, I feel like this just has to be completely disqualified, and you got to start it all over, because obviously certain things were done behind closed doors for it to even gotten to this point of this final vote in front of the Board of Commissioners. So yeah, and that's just my opinion, obviously, but it really just doesn't sit right with me that it's continuing to move forward that way.
Yeah, but now you look at it on the other side of that, to play the devil's advocate though, and you're the developer. They're going to say, well, it's not our problem that you had a guy that was breaking the law. It's not our problem that you're planning.
But they were breaking the law with him. They were breaking the law with him. Were they not? Yes. Potentially.
Potentially. Well, actually, if you go back in the emails, there were email chains where they were emailing and they were including Chris on the emails after he recused himself. So, if you want to be real technical, yes.
Right.
Were there communications with Chris? Yes, there were communications with Chris after that in, packets that they, like I said, they put it out there. It's too easy for you. You just got to read. The email chains were there. The worst thing that I actually stumbled upon was when I started reading these, not only were they not using county emails, they were using personal emails in these chains. So,
that's unacceptable. That makes it look like you're going to be doing, shady things behind the scenes.
Well, I also found a few that you'll see, you go through that packet and you look at the email chain and you'll see where it was personally, it was from Beth to Chris personal to Frank personal to Stan personal, to Andre personal, and then Andre personable to Stan personal, and then Stan to Shannon Davison county email.
That's just unbelievable. See, and it's unfortunate they're bringing Andre into it, and he's the new guy on the block.
Well, let me tell you, Andre is no innocent man. You sit there and go back and you watch those videos. Andre was being told what to vote on. If you watch every single time since Andre was on that board, either Frank or Stan will walk over to Andre, grab a paper, and start pointing to it and talking. and you're not dumb. You got the agenda right in your hand. You can see what, somebody's pointing at and talking to him. In his very first meeting, he comes in and he votes to approve Cagle Mill Road. I mean, I don't know about you, but me personally, if we're talking about 323 homes that I don't even know where that road is, I'm going to have to say, sorry, guys, I can't vote on this because I don't know anything about this.
Right.
We got to
And
point
you
it
even
to
had
that.
Kathy
to that
Cooper
for a
admitted
reason.
to you she'd never set foot on the property, right?
Oh yeah, she admitted openly to me that she's. I asked her if she's ever been on Cagle Mill Road, and she told me no.
I mean, how do you vote on something and you don't even go look at it?
And before this even went to planning, I sent every commissioner an email inviting them to come look at the road. And the only one that responded to me was Billy Powell at the time. And he said, this isn't in front of the commissioners. When it gets here, you're more than welcome to come, ask this again. Well, of course I did. And, I didn't get any reply at all that time. And, I've asked all of them, come meet me, come look at this nonsense. And
That's so
I think-
disrespectful. Like somebody that's active within as a resident, Jodi, you're so active with all of this, for them to not even give you a, hey, I'm busy, hey, it's not in my district, something. Like, to me, that really doesn't sit well with me, when because they work for us. You're paying county taxes, and they can't even give you a response to, hey, sure, let me come take a look at it. Sorry, it's not in my district, so I'm not gonna bother with it. I mean, even as rude as that sounds, at least it's a response. Like, just to get completely ignored like that, it's so disrespectful.
You're right, it is, and I brought it up, and I went to the point of, I'm not one. I followed Kathy Cooper right to her car. I don't care. I'll tell you I did, and stood right by her car. Thankfully, another citizen was kind of over there, and they took a picture of it, and sent it to me. She told me to my face 3 times on this project. Well, it's Greg's district. Whatever Greg votes, that's what I'll vote. So Greg's a solid no. So if Kathy isn't a solid no on December 11th, I'll be sure to let her know. You lied to my face as a citizen 3 times.
Right.
And, lying to somebody's face is pretty disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're a public servant, we literally pay your salaries. You have electricity and air conditioning and heating in that building because we fund it.
Yep.
I get it. And
So asinine.
and I just wish the people would get upset about Cagle Road as they did the data center.
Cagle Mill.
I mean, Cagle Mill Road, yeah. I keep saying Cagle, but Cagle Mill Road as they do the data center.
Everybody, like I try and tell everybody, there was a comment made several months ago by an attorney on the Martha Zoller show. When I called in, her comment was that I only cared about my backyard. And I didn't hear the comment. I was told about the comment, and I quickly left that attorney a voicemail and let them know. I think you better figure out who I am and what I stand for. Because if anybody really knows and watches me, I am all over this county. Like, I don't care. I'll be there to support north, south, east, west side. I'm going to support everybody. Just like you said, they're trying to put this new development on Vero's side of town. You know what? I'm going to be sitting right there saying, oh, no, we ain't going to do no.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. And to top it all, on that one on Vero's side of town, they're going to put 4 huge community septic tanks in right next to the lake. I mean, come on. That's just unbelievable.
What happens then is you look 20 years down the road at those community septic tanks, and, the developer's out of the picture, everything's said and done. Well, guess what? That septic tank, something happens to it. Who's responsible then? All of them homeowners? What if 3 of them don't have the money to fix it? Then whose problem does that become? Does that become all the other homeowners? Does that become the taxpayers?
Usually ends up being the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Who's
I
ends up being the
mean,
taxpayer?
so at
Because
some
that
point,
commissioner's long gone, the developer's long gone, like you said. So it's like, oh well, we can't hold any of these guys responsible. But at the end of the day, the
It's gotta
commissioners
be
were
fair.
representing the county, and the county needs to take up for this because the residents can't afford to fix it. So
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I said, like I told a friend one time when he was looking to buy a condo, and I said, you better think about that, because if your neighbor ain't got the money to fix the roof and there's a hole in the roof, you might be paying for a whole new roof over both of you. So
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't think it should be allowed. I see them running sewer through North Hall in the nearer future than one would think. But again, you don't know about that. Well, that's a wait and see.
Yeah, no doubt. And before you have to get off here, we got the water meeting in a few days about they're going to be talking about at the Civic Center about the contaminants and for lack of a better word, the quality of our water coming out of Lake Lanier. And from what we've heard is Hall County has put off for several years putting in stuff at their treatment plants, and the city of Gainesville's involved too. Stuff that Forsyth County and Jackson County and Dawson County and other surrounding counties have put in to treat their water. And do you think that leads up to all this contamination just in Hall County? And what do you know what's going to happen at that meeting on the 8th or whenever it is?
I know the speaker has spoke a lot of places, and I know they're very educated on this subject. I'm not. Like, I'll be real honest with you. I've paid a water bill one time in my life, and I was not happy about it. I've always been on a well all my life, and I can say, right at this moment, thank goodness for my well.
Exactly.
It was, I didn't even really, and as long as I've lived here, I have never, I hear some people saying, oh, this happens every year. It's a lake turnover. Okay, I've never smelled it or had it taste this bad.
Right.
I lived on a lake in Ohio. We actually had a lake in Ohio that had a huge green algae bloom that was like neon green bloom, and it didn't even smell this bad. So I'm concerned.
Yeah, see, I've got a whole house filter, and you still can't, if your ice starts melting in your drink, it just ruins the whole drink. You got to drink your drink faster than the ice can melt, because if it gets halfway through the cube, and it just contaminates your whole drink.
I'm just gonna say this: if you're even using that ice cube, you're risking it, Chris.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I use it occasionally, but it's gotten to where I drink bottled and canned drinks most of the time.
Yeah.
And what about the surprise? What's your opinion on the surprise nominations for the tax assessors with Higgins and Zorzaloff?
Well, like I said at the meeting, the Hall County citizens voted Richard Higgins out for a reason, and that was totally disrespectful to the citizens to vote him back, to appoint him to a board. The Hall County citizens spoke. They said, we do not want him on a board. So that was total disrespect and a smack in the face to the citizens of Hall County to do that.
Right.
David Gibbs's appointment, I don't know the guy that well. I'll sit, I'll listen, I'll watch, I'll observe. I'm very vocal about, if I see something that ain't right, I'm going to say something, see something, say something. But I can say that, with that board, that I'm a little concerned because you're only going to have 2 people on that board that are even trained out of 5.
Right.
because Casey Riles is still going to sit on that board, but he has half of his training done. So, you got 2 people that are fully trained, you got 1 that's half trained, and 2 that have no idea what they're doing.
And they've got to train, 6 months? They got 6 months to finish 40 hours?
6 months to finish 40 hours, and they have to take a state test.
Right.
And that has to be done within their first year. So Casey Riles is pushing his training time. Like, he is going to be at his limit of pushing it. So
Right.
when we're talking about our taxes, and you're talking about people that aren't even trained to understand it, and then, you're also looking at your chief appraiser is leaving the office.
Right.
So you have that going. You also have one of your other high ranking people in that office will be out on maternity leave. How is that office functioning? And to me, that's one of the leanest running offices we have. So
Right.
Hall County citizens, you think your taxes might be messed up or lagging behind or something, you better show up. And I'll tell you, this is one of these boards that nobody wants to come to. It's boring. I get it most of the time. But if you watch the video, I'll tell you that the chairman that we have sitting there now, and I've gotten up and I've spoken a couple times, I'll give Eric Jackson the biggest pat on the back there is, because if there is any man that runs a board according to Robert's rules almost to the T, it's Eric Jackson.
Right. I've heard good things about him. It's and we'll get into Watson a little bit. There's no guarantee whoever takes over is going to be able to correct the mistakes that he had going on. I mean, the way the taxes are done, the assessments are done with GMAS, and you can't go behind everybody and check to see if they're in probate or they're not in probate. And
I mean, he had him and John had plans, to go back, and they had a strategy to go and fix some of those. And there were some of them, they were actually, some of them that they found that they would have kicked off that didn't deserve to be kicked off. It was like 19 of them. So there were 19 people that would have lost that. If you look at that audit, and go back and do the numbers. And John explained the millage rate really well. And especially for someone like, I'll tell you, I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. When we start throwing letters and all that in there, Jodi's out, okay? So, he explained it really well. I could even understand the math that if you set your millage rate to a certain amount, you set your millage rate that way. So the big thing was, okay, the school's missing out on money. Well, technically, when you looked at it and you looked at the millage rates and the way they were set, if anybody was really getting money taken from them, it was the Hall County citizens, and it was to the tune of 3 cents. Well, how much did that audit cost us? $27,000. Okay. So would you rather give up 3 cents or pay another $27,000 for an audit?
Well, and
of 1,200 homes.
You also got to look at this. I'd say 75% of the people, if they come to me and tell me I got to pay up to 7 years, most cases it's 3 years, but commercial and business and go back to 7, I believe. But you're going to have to pay 3 to 7 years in back taxes. I'm taking them to court.
Well, the board did go and they did make a policy change, and they did put those where you could they go back 3 years, but they did talk about, and we're going to talk about in executive session, if they should go back. If they find it to be their mistake, should they just notify the person and move on? And most of the boards seemed like they agreed with, we'll say this was our fault, we're fixing it now, and move on. And that's when John brought up the millage rate. and said that we
Yeah.
weren't really giving away the school tax money, but it was going to cost every Hall County citizen 3 cents. Well, I think Walmart probably robs me more of 3 cents every year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you look, if anybody if they go after them, and it's going to cost at minimum $10,000 to hear one court case.
yeah,
You look at all these people that's going to court, you're talking several, possibly tens of millions of dollars, depending on what all you find. The key is finding where the mistakes are being made and be sure it doesn't happen again.
yeah,
Not going after the people for mistakes. They had nothing. 90% of them, 95%, I'd say, are not trying to cheat on their property taxes. They just don't know any. They don't know any better.
no, I just look at it as, I'm not going to go snitch on my neighbor. My neighbor don't need to snitch on me. We don't need that. We need to be neighbors again.
Exactly.
We need to be neighbors again, and we need to be friendly. And I
Almost
think
treasonous to go snitch on your neighbor because you're not paying enough taxes.
yeah, I'm going to go down. My neighbor does not pay these tax. Oh my,
Oh,
Yeah.
we got a new boat dock, and he's not paying proper taxes on it. I mean, come on.
yeah, no, that's not my realm, and and if they do figure it out and they come back, okay, pay your taxes, you owe what you owe. That all you're gonna do is pay taxes and die anyhow. That's my theory on it. And they send me my tax bill. Yeah, do I get mad? Do I throw the paper around a little bit, crinkle it up, and yell? Yeah, of course I do. And but I'm going to go about it, and I'm not going to, and if I really thought it was super wrong, I would go do something about it, of course.
Right. Get appeal and go the legal route to do it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people need to realize that, okay, sit back, have some logic, think about this, get a strategy, have the bandwidth and the long end game to say, this is how we have to pursue this. And is this going to happen tomorrow? No. Are we going to get our tax digest 100% today, tomorrow, next year, or even 5 years from now? No. And I don't care who you are.
No, you're not going to get a perfect office. You're going to have mistakes. Things are going to fall through the cracks. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, especially when you look at the bureaucracy and the cumbersome reality of how government operates.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, my standpoint is I would like to see where we could get to a point in Hall County that, we could look at our government and say, no, it's not perfect, but you know what? We're doing okay.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Jodi. Well, thanks for coming on, and we hope to have you back on again at the beginning of the year when we start getting into our campaign stuff, because I know you're involved in several things and helping candidates, and you got many irons in the fire.
Too many. I didn't expect all these jobs.
Oh yeah, I get it. And you can find Jodi at hallinformed.org.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And her Facebook group on Facebook, Hall Informed. And she's a member of our group as well, North Georgia Advocate. She posts videos and her videos in there, and we work pretty well together, sharing things and helping each other out. So
yeah, we just had to work together and all come to a common ground and, just say, look, we need this fixed. And sometimes it is really about going and saying, this is my problem and I need it fixed, and being demanding about it, unfortunately. And, sorry, like you said, the more people you get that stand up, the more noticeable it becomes.
right.
Yeah. So before we go, Jodi, I want to give you your flowers because I think people like you are very short in this, with short supply in this world, especially with the polarization of politics that we got in this country on a national level. But seeing you guys, and then the multiple Facebook groups that are kind of pushing a lot of this stuff in the forefront, whether we all agree with it or not, but just getting more eyes on it from residents, the actual taxpayers. I'm a true believer in, if we can change stuff at a local level, I think we have a pretty good shot at a state level and then potentially at a national level to hopefully turn this country around
Absolutely.
back in the right direction. But it takes people like you to actually push the buttons, and I think people need to see that, in my opinion. I know I did, because I was just like, I mean, they're just gonna do it anyways. They're just gonna do it anyways. They're just gonna do it anyways. Kind of that kind of mindset. But going to some of the meetings, seeing Corey, Tyler, etc. Other people actually speak up and give their 2 cents to the board, the planning commission or the the board of commissioners. It kind of gives people like me a little bit more strength to, okay, I wasn't the only one thinking like this, but I'm glad to see there's other people that are actually putting action to what their thoughts were, and actually going up there and speaking up and doing the work to, like you said, they make it too easy, but you're still having to do the work to go find a lot of the evidence to kind of like tie it all together and stuff. So I want to give you your flowers for that and
Thank
being
you.
a great leader for this for Hall County. I think we're fortunate to have you here.
Like he said, you're doing a great job, and just as long as you got the health and the strength and energy, I mean, just keep on plugging. And we're all here to help you any way we can.
Yeah, I think we need to find some younger minds to kind of put some interns underneath you to kind of for you to for them to learn under you, and again steer the ship in the right direction with future leaders that are hopefully going to right the ship.
And I've been screaming that from the mountaintops at every group I go to. It's kind of funny because I've just picked up stuff and I've said, you know what, I'm going to show up here. I'm going to go here. Well, there's a public thing. Well, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And I'll just strike up conversations with people, because one of my huge things is getting our youth involved and letting them know you have a voice, because our youth voter turnout is so low.
Right.
And to me, I just stand back and I think, okay, when I'm gone and my voice is gone, is somebody going to stand up and say, you're not doing this to me? And I don't want that to be my children. I have a granddaughter. I don't want that to be her. Fortunately for everybody in Hall County, I'll just tell you right now, y'all better my granddaughter will be a force of nature. Okay. She's just like me. Get ready.
Yeah.
So, that is a huge point, is that we do need to find those younger groups and say, hey, come watch this, come see this, get involved, know what's right and know what's wrong. And that's why I am a huge stickler on, here's the evidence. There's an assumption. Yes, there's an assumption. There might be a little writing on the wall, but until it all is there and it is all laid out, don't put it out there. That, have the facts, have the data to show it, because I don't want our youth looking at something and then coming back and say, oh, that wasn't really true, because that's what they're seeing right now in our government.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
Yeah, everybody's just disillusioned with the government because it's all lies. Nobody ever gets held accountable. There's always an excuse, and that's got to change. And we can make that change at the local level, not state or national per se, but
it's got to start somewhere, though.
Control over the local stuff.
Yeah, it's got to start somewhere, and it's good to see, from my perspective too, because I thought it was a lost cause at this point in this country, but again, like seeing some of these Facebook groups and people like Jodi being more vocal on social media about our local government and stuff, and more people speaking up and more people speaking. I'm like, hey, yeah, this was going on, da 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 da. It's good to see that. again, if I feel like if we right the ship on a local level, there's momentum potentially that spreads to other I mean, I feel like we're seeing this on a local community level kind of spread like wildfire already.
Oh yeah.
Where other counties are getting, ethics complaints, and there's other Jodis out there now that are filing ethics complaints against other commissioners and board of whatnot. I mean, shoot, Forsyth County is starting to cook up,
Oh yes.
They just recalled the mayor of Winder, no confidence vote.
There you go, and I feel like it's a good thing. Yeah, so I see the change. So hopefully if we can get it changed on a local level and it spreads to different communities, I feel like that's what's gonna hit the state. And you get one state to drop, that's gonna spread like wildfire to other states, and then guess what? Boom, you got turnover and hopefully a national ship that's finally changing course and going back to actually making America great again.
Well, I'll say one more thing that I did notice today. I don't mingle much in the Gainesville much. I know you guys do, but I did see a post today where Gainesville was asking for citizens to be on a bunch of different boards and to fill out applications. And I was like, somebody's getting the message. Somebody's getting the message. We are coming.
No doubt about it. And we appreciate everything you're doing. And you get you some rest the rest of the week, because next week's going to be hell.
Well, I have birthday parties, Christmas parties, and I got whole county government. Count on me. So if you hear from me by the end of next week and I can't talk like couple weeks ago, you know what happened.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, and we will talk
thanks for your time, Jodi.
You guys have a good evening.
You too, thanks.
Bye.